Sorry. Kind of munching on some peanuts here. Um, Another contest entry for Heavymetalrille. Um, he's got a pretty cool contest going on. It is sort of a October Halloween themed contest. Um, and one, he wanted to know what on Halloween, your full day, what are you going to do? And then the part of the contest that I really like is he wants you to recommend some, excuse me, um, great uh, horror films to watch on Halloween, but he doesn't want them to be the obvious Halloween. We're going to do a Michael Myers marathon. He wants you to sort of kind of look for some things that maybe aren't quite as touted, people don't talk about as much, maybe a little bit more obscure, which I think is a great idea. Love it. So now I'm gonna have to be honest. On Halloween, I don't really do that much. You know, all of my friends besides one, yeah, they're not real big horror freaks. They like the movies. They like horror films, but they're not as rabid about them. I have one good buddy that is pretty big horror fan. Got a pretty nice horror collection. But he sticks to mainly what he knows, which he's a bit older than me. He's like 40 now. So he grew up he was a kid and a teenager in the 80s. So anything from the 80s, horror-wise, anything cheesy from the 80s, the guy loves Killer Party and Killer Workout and My Demon Lover and anything really cheesy in 80s that's horror he loves. He doesn't get into the more extreme stuff so much. Not that he doesn't like them, he just doesn't search them out. I've actually given him some things. I gave him Serbian film. I gave him a copy of The Exterminator, more exploitation. He loved those, but it's just not something he goes out to do. So I don't have a lot of people that are crazy about Halloween, to hang out with. And he works a lot, so depending on what day it is, I might go over there and we'll just talk about movies like we always do and have a few beers. But more than likely, what I will do on Halloween is get up, have my pumpkin spice coffee. Depending on how the day is, possibly take my son out, take some pictures in his little costume. We got him a little bat costume. Then come back here, have some dinner, and yes, on Halloween for me, it is a tradition. I know you didn't want to hear about this movie, but I do watch Halloween on Halloween. I do. It's just tradition for me. So, and I'll probably have a few beers if it's on the weekend. I actually don't know when Halloween falls this year, but if it's on a weekend, I'll probably have a few brews when I'm watching this. So yeah, it's gonna be kind of a boring Halloween for me. Like I said, I don't have a lot of people, to hang out with that are really crazy about Halloween or horror films. They might go down, and I know a lot of people used to go down to the bars downtown and dress up and stuff. And well, I'm not in the bar scene anymore. I not surpassed, but I kind of quit going to bars when I was about 23. So now on to recommendations of some films for you guys out there to watch on Halloween that um, are not as well known, I guess, or maybe just something a little different to throw in your player. One. Now these aren't like crazy obscure or anything. They're just not what people normally would watch on Halloween that aren't hardcore fans of horror. Now I'm sure hardcore fans of horror out there have a plethora of films that they watch, not just the Halloween films. So, first one, This one doesn't really take place around Halloween or in the fall. Some of these have sort of take place in the fall or around Halloween. Um, but this one, um, anything with this word in it reminds me of Halloween, and that's Frankenstein. And this is Flesh for Frankenstein. Um, like I said, it's not known or anything. It's not like super obscure, but um, I think this is a great Halloween movie to watch on Halloween. It's not about Halloween, but it's an interesting take on the Frankenstein story. It's got a very interesting sort of quirky feel to it. I don't want to call it cheesy, although some of it kind of comes off cheesy. Just sort of quirky, very sexual. Um, really, really dig this movie. Lots of gore in it too. Lots of good gore. All right, next. This one takes place around the fall, and of all the faults that this movie has, the one good thing that it does is it really um, captures that fall feeling very well visually. That's Flesh Eater, um, starring Bill Hinsman, whatever you want to call it, him. Um, as the original graveyard zombie in Night of the Living Dead. Um, he's back in this. I guess he plays the same zombie, or as he says, zombie. That Pittsburgh accent. It's completely inept. Um, acting is awful. Uh, story's not terrible. Gore is really good, but it's a hell of a lot of fun. I love watching this thing. It's so cheesy and so good it's bad. So bad it's good. Man, I'm dyslexic today. Something. But a bunch of kids go out into the woods during fall. The leaves are on the ground. They even take like a tractor ride out to their spot that they're going to camp at. And I think it is a few days before Halloween because there is some Halloween stuff that goes on during Halloween. There's a Halloween party that he sort of crashes. Um, there's a great scene with, I think it's the producer. He plays a drunken Dracula, and he's so acting is so terrible. It's so funny. He even talks about how bad it is in the special features, but a lot of gore, really cheesy, and I have a lot of fun with this movie. And it's centered around fall and Halloween, so Flesh Eater. Now to go on to something that's a little. I don't watch a lot of these films, but it's that gothic horror style um, with a '70s twist, an odd '70s twist. Um, that just sort of, I don't know, those gothic horror movies, gothic style of horror movies, because it's not really gothic per se, I guess, but it gives the feeling of Halloween for me, and that's Vampire Circus. Really strange hammer flick, a little bit different from your normal, Bats in the Belfry and Castles and Cobwebs and all that stuff. Even though there is some of that in here, um, just think it's got a good feel to it for Halloween in October. Vampire Circus. All right, now this one is a little bit more on the fun side, a little bit more comedic. But I think it's really funny and a whole lot of fun, and it takes place on Halloween. Um, it's Murder Party. Basically, this guy here, he doesn't have any friends really. His friend's his cat, and he he finds a strange invitation to a Halloween party, and just decides on a whim to go. So he makes his costume, and he goes to this location. It's supposed to be sort of a secret party, and if you found the invitation, then you're invited, and you know, don't tell anybody. Well, he shows up, and basically it's a bunch of art students that have lured him in, not necessarily targeted him, but they just sort of left the invitation out there for anybody to come. And they're going to make an art project to get some grant money, and they're going to do it by murdering someone. And they're going to either film it or record it or paint it or something to make art out of murder. And he's sort of stuck in this, as you can see, he's all tied up there on the back. He's sort of stuck in this warehouse with these nutty art students that want to kill him for the sake of art. It says here, Napoleon Dynamite meets the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. A little bit, sort of, I guess. It is quirky and stuff. But this is a lot of fun. I really like Murder Party. And then this one here is probably the one I would recommend the most out of all these for, Halloween, October. It's sort of part slasher film, part high school teen angst film, part exploitation film. It's got a lot of elements, but I think it's really cool and highly overlooked, and that is Hell High. I really love this movie. This is one I always pop in around this time of year. Teacher gets terrorized by some really douchebag students, but what little do they know, she has some demons in her past, and those demons come out. But I think it's really well made and highly overlooked. You don't hear many people talking about Hell High. And this DVD is cool too because it's also got a Joe Bob Briggs commentary on it. There's an interview with the writer. And actually the star, Christopher Stryker, which is this guy here, this was his only film, I'm pretty sure. He died of, I believe he died of AIDS. I can't remember. But he died not that long after. I don't even think he got to see the finished product. I think he died pretty shortly after production wrapped. I don't really remember. I could be saying that wrong. But if you do happen to find this somewhere, Joe Bob will tell you in the commentary. So yeah, that would probably be my number one recommendation of something that's a little bit off the map to watch this Halloween season. Hell High. So there it is. That is my contest entry for Heavymetalrille. And you guys, if you have not subbed him, go sub him now. The guy has an amazing collection. Like, he has so many DVDs. It's mind-blowing. Dude, when you watch this, do you have a count? Like, do you know exactly how many you have? Because I've seen him do, like, videos around the room there, and they're just everywhere. He has got a ton. An awesome collection. Really great YouTuber. Go check him out. Link will be at the bottom. Go sub him right now. And good luck to everybody in the contest who enters. I'll see you guys later.